Hi, this video is about GMB digital proximity influence. That's a mouthful. Basically, when you're trying to rank in the maps, one of the most important parts to Google's algorithm is going to be how is basically your business's proximity to the searcher. Now, proximity, I'm going to kind of use in air quotes here because it's more of a digital proximity in that just because someone is physically closer doesn't, gives them advantage for sure, but it doesn't automatically mean that they're more relevant from a proximity standpoint. And that's why you can have more influence maybe a couple miles down the road sometimes than you do someplace that's closer. And that this is also why it's not just whoever is closest to me. And I think that the how much weight they put on to physical closeness also depends on the market. So like maybe a pizza place versus like a construction company. Both of them are going to have probably Google My Business pages, but I think they're going to be willing to go further for some types of services. And Google tweaks, I believe that that's part of their algorithm that kind of accounts for that. Anyway, so this is not super well understood right now, I think, but it's a huge part of Google's algorithm. In fact, after GMB category, basically how relevant they think you are geographically to the searcher becomes the next biggest factor, so to speak. So almost all of my Google My Business SEO stuff has this included, or as the primary objective is to increase the proximity influence. So I'm always keeping that in consideration if I'm trying to rank a project. If I've got a project with a company that has one or more Google My Business pages that for which Google is serving up maps in the search engine results pages. So like all plumbers, that's pretty much every keyword that they have, unless it's like a super small city. So this is a very commonly a huge part of a project. It's no longer, maybe 5 years ago you could say, oh, I rank second in the maps for Dallas plumber, right? You could say that, and it would be reasonable. And pretty much all over Dallas, you'd be pretty much accurate. That's not true anymore. That's really, if I hear somebody say, hey, I rank in the maps, I rank number 2 in the maps for this keyword, it kind of clues me into the fact that they don't really know what it means to rank in the maps. And that's what I'm going to talk about now, because it's a major precursor, a major point of understanding that really needs to be thought about deeply in order to understand how to appropriately affect digital proximity influence. And you need to be tracking this. Okay, if you have a project that has Google Maps listings, you should be tracking what I call the ranking geogrids. And I'm not the person that came up with this. There's several pieces of software out there that do this for you. I use them just for the ranking geogrids. A lot of times they have other features. I don't like it when, I don't use features that involve logging into accounts with clients. I don't want to use the same access code because it kind of creates a footprint. If one of them gets suspended, then it could, create the other one. So I try to separate the Google My Business pages as much as possible in terms of them all being on different accounts. But this is different. This is more of a tracking standpoint, and I can track anybody. It's not actually accessing the Google My Business page. Quick sidetrack on that. Okay, so here's a bunch of examples. I'm going to use these examples as I go through and give you more examples of exactly how I would implement in different scenarios. But you can see here, like this is a really new listing. I showed this in another video, more broad Maps SEO video, and this is an older listing that obviously ranks a lot better. But you can see, the only place that they rank at all is basically right next door, right in this. This is at the center is the actual Google My Business page location. All right, and so the point is to kind of grow this influence, not necessarily in a circular manner. It doesn't always make sense to grow it in a circular manner, as you can see here in this first one. Let's take a look at some of these other ones here. So this is these two are really interesting because it's a pretty significant patchwork. You have 1, 2, and then nothing, and then oddly further away you ranked better. Now this, the further you get from the first page, the first 3 to 5 results, the more fluctuation you could be. This could just be like the timing of checking, like that sometimes it's there and sometimes it's not. Like when you rank 17th. But the fact that there's multiple data points over here, that kind of it's pretty interesting that it kind of can go up and down. It can be further away and actually rank better. So even all the way up here. So what I would do, let's say this is, well, I'm gonna get into what I would do with this listing, but identify this is maybe an area for growth, basically. And we have already built relevance to this area, and we built relevance to this area. Now we still need to work on these other areas. You can see another example here, 2 to 17, this is quickly dropping this way, and you have some more influence up here. Now, part of this is in this specific area, there's a good bit of little cities, and so this is actually located in Southlake, Texas. But there's a bigger city right here, Grapevine, that you kind of hit a wall, right? So you can hit walls if it actually moves into a different city in terms of ranking. Doesn't mean you can't rank, especially right over the border, especially if it's really close. Like if the Google My Business page is a mile, from the next city, you could still rank there. It's just a lot harder, and so something to be aware of. Here's another one, ranking pretty well. Still could use some influence up here. Built it up in these areas, and then here's another example where you could see like there's a lot of #1 rankings, but then you just kind of go this way and it's much harder. This is also about competition. This is downtown Fort Worth, so it's just going to be more competitive. And so that's to be expected. But it doesn't mean you don't take these low-hanging fruit up here. Okay, so now where did this go? Where did it disappear? There we go. Okay, so how do we go about influencing this? Now that we go, okay, so we rank in different areas. Let's say this is a really good example right here. Let's say we're here. What are we going to try to do? And let's assume this is all one city, just for the sake of argument. What are we going to try to, actually this one's better. This one's a little better. We're going to try to find a specific point of interest to this park right here, and we're going to try to build relevance to this specific park, relevance to the Google My Business page. So we're going to send information to Google that lets them think that it gives them information that these two things are relevant. And there's a lot of different ways to do that, and you can do that in all sorts of parts of SEO. With your Google My Business page itself, you can do it on your page, on your site. There's actually a lot of things you can do on there. There's kind of unlimited amount of ways in which you can do this, that you can work on the influence on your site because you have complete control over it. With link building, let's give an example of a link. Let's say I want to be more relevant over here, right? Again, back to this analogy up here. And let's say they have a donation page or something on Trumbull Park that will allow me to get a link, right? And somehow I can get a link. I can call them up. I can even ask them, if it's not like a public thing, maybe this is possible, right? Let's just assume that it's a private park, and I can get a link and say, hey, I'll donate $100 or whatever to you, and I can get a link back to my website, specifically back to the URL that is inside the Google My Business page. That's the best place. Even just to the home page would be good too. And that's going to add a lot of relevance because they're telling Google, hey, we appreciate this. And that link, especially, they're going to have a Google My Business page. So think about that. This is a brand that is tied into the website. The Google My Business page is tied into the website, and the website is tied into the Google My Business page. And they're linking to your website from their website, which is also tied into the Google My Business page. Google can make that connection. Okay, so that is an example of a link. Now that's a great link, so don't expect to get that very often, but it's an awesome type of link. And there's a lot of other kinds of links that you can use to make it more relevant. You can talk about both at the same time. That's just another one way of doing it. You can do it on your site. So on your site, have a page about Trammell Park, and put it in the section of your site that is all relevant to that Google My Business page you're trying to rank. So you want to interlink properly. You could just even having a video, if there's a video about Trammell Park, put it on your site on one of your pages. That would add relevance. There's a lot of different things that you can do there. Examples with GMB. So you can do it inside, so it's sort of like the back end. You could make a post about Trammell Park. You could talk about it. That's going to add some relevance. I wouldn't do this too much, but it's not like you can just make 100 posts about Trammell Park and then you're super relevant. Well, maybe you could. I don't recommend doing that, but it could still work. It's just one you're looking at this thing and you're going to do it. You're going to add relevance in all these places. Let's say, so we want to rank in Trumbull Park. We're going to look for opportunities in all these places to help improve the influence. And so, making a GMB post is just one of several things that you're going to try to do. Outside as well. So if you think about, like, if someone is sitting in Trumbull Park and they get driving directions from their phone to my business, that's a signal to Google. So this is much harder to manipulate, but there are still ways to kind of send these signals. And it can't. It's kind of a whole can of worms in and of itself. I won't be able to go into it in this video, but I think that if you know of any way to send traffic, be it real or fake or that looks real to Google, this would be something that you could consider. And even there's kind of like offline marketing where you get real people to take actions that you want them to do. That's going to be helpful. You do have to be careful with it because it can't look. If it looks fake, then that could really hurt you. Okay. I want to clarify one last point about what a POI is. It's kind of anything. Like literally, it could be a park, it could be an intersection, it could be a zip code, it could be a neighborhood. And I typically like to pick big, unique things that are unique potentially to the city. Like in this example, the Dallas Museum of Art or Trumbull Park. These are examples of things that are, there's not another Dallas Museum of Art, right? And Fort Worth Botanic Garden right here, Fort Worth Stockyards. These are all good things, I think, to make yourself more relevant too, because there's a uniqueness to it that makes it, I think, the connection a bit stronger. I don't think you couldn't do this, but I would probably never do it. I think I could always find a better opportunity. I would never do like a McDonald's, but I think that would still probably work. I just think it would be out of place and it would not work as much as finding something that has a POI that has a stronger presence in Google's eyes, and that's going to be what I have to say on that. I think I covered everything. If you've never seen these before, well, welcome to the Google My Business page ranking world. This is absolutely critical. If you're not doing this and you're trying to rank in the maps, then you're not understanding what's going on. You just can't know what's going on. You can't do enough manual searches to really check this. And what you want to do is you want to track this over time for any client. Once a month, take a screenshot, just like I've done here, and document it and save it. Right, that's going to be really helpful to enable you to really paint the picture that things are improving, and also to know where to put the work into. What do you need more relevant to? So if you're up here, if you're in this situation right here, you don't want to build relevance to these number ones. You're already relevant there. You're good. You don't need it. So you want POIs that are up here. Anyway, let me know if you have any questions. Leave a comment below. I will try to respond when I can. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe for more videos. Thanks, and have a great day. Bye now.